So let me start at the beginning of this story. Me and my dad moved to Serbia from Alaska. I was only 10 at the time, so as you'd expect, moving countries was a massive change in my life. I was leaving behind my friends and my family. I was scared I wouldn't make any new friends where we were going. I'd say for the first 2 years, me and my dad didn't make any friends. We would often only socialise with each other. But one afternoon I came home from school, and I saw somebody I'd never seen before standing in our kitchen. The man gave me a very awkward and shy grin. As I was about to say hello, my dad appeared from out the living room. He said, "Oh, hi son, this is my new friend Jeff." "Hi Jeff," I quietly said. My dad said Jeff is new to this area also, and that he was also from Alaska. I was kind of caught off guard by this. What are the odds that we would move to this small town in Serbia and there would be another person from Alaska there? And around my dad's age. But I thought this is a good thing because at least then my dad has someone to talk to and someone that feels familiar to him. Fast forward a few months and Jeff and my dad had become very good friends. Jeff would often come over before my dad got home from work and wait for him. Jeff would also often try and engage me in small talk, and it never really went well. It was always very forced and awkward questions about how my day went and what kind of things I enjoyed doing. I'd reply with short answers in hopes he would leave me alone because, to be honest, Jeff used to just creep me out. I'd find him staring at me when my dad wasn't in the room. I did tell my dad about him always looking at me when he wasn't around, but my dad used to just brush it off by saying he's probably just trying to be friendly and he doesn't know how to speak to you. Well, the next day my dad had to stay late for an extra few hours at work, and told me if Jeff comes over, just tell him I won't be back until late, and that he would see him soon. I didn't like this because it would mean I'd have to be alone with Jeff again. I turned on the TV and started watching. I can't remember what show was on, but I got very into it and soon forgot all about my dad staying late at work. Just as I was starting to get very comfortable, I heard a creak and a short banging noise coming from outside. I looked up from the TV and saw Jeff looking into the window at me, gesturing me to come over to him. My blood instantly went cold when I saw him. In fright, I jumped and tried to hide behind my couch. Just as I dug down, I heard him knock on the window and start saying, "Come here, your dad told me to come over and wait for him." I knew this wasn't true, which made me panic even more. I crawled to the hallway and up to the bottom of the stairs. I slowly started crawling up the stairs, trying not to make any noise because there was another window that can see our stairs very easily. I kept glancing over at the window every other step, praying not to see him. I was 2 steps away from the top, and as I looked over at the window, I saw him standing there, staring at me with a freaky grin on his face. I screamed in fear and lunged up the last few stairs, sprinted to my room and slammed the door. I was in such a panic I couldn't remember if I'd locked the back door or not when I came in from school. I climbed over my bed and leaned up to my window because I could just make out the silhouette of the back door from my room. I didn't turn my bedroom light on, so if Jeff looked into my window, he wouldn't be able to see me. Just as I started to calm myself down and get my breathing under control, I saw him appear into the view of my window, headed straight for the back door. I genuinely thought I was going to die. I knew if I saw Jeff open that door, that I was going to open my window and climb onto the roof. I was too scared to think of how I was going to climb onto my roof that was covered in snow and how I wouldn't fall off. He then opened the door and I quickly heard him start to run towards the stairs. I twisted the lock open and pushed my window open and leapt out onto the roof. I instantly lost my grip and started sliding down. I went straight off the roof onto the ground below. To my luck, the snow broke my fall. I got up, looked up to see how far I'd fell, and saw Jeff standing in my bedroom window holding a rusty knife. I ran into the darkness, stumbling over thick snow to get as far away as I could. It felt like forever, but I managed to reach the tree line at the edge of our front yard. I jumped behind a tree and slowly peered back to the house. I saw nothing. By this time the snow was coming down so strong I couldn't even see a foot into the snow. I hid behind the tree for what felt like hours, only in my jeans and hoodie. I didn't even have a hat or gloves for this weather. I was so cold. I knew I'd have to try and run back to the house to get my winter clothes. I wouldn't survive long out here. I took a breath and started moving back towards the direction of the house, trying to retrace my steps, I saw the dark silhouette of my house. I pushed my way through the snow and stepped into my house. Luckily, Jeff hadn't closed the back door after coming in. I cautiously made my way over to the coat rack to grab my winter coat and my gloves. It was so quiet. All I could hear was the cold, snowy wind outside. I decided I'd stay by the door just in case I saw Jeff coming down the stairs. But he never did. I finally heard the sound of a car pull up to the house. I was so happy. I was saved. My dad walked in and saw me hiding behind the doorway, looking at the door. He asked what I was doing and why the door wasn't closed. I ran up to him, trying to tell him what was going on whilst trying not to panic. He kept saying, "What? What are you trying to tell me?" I caught a breath and told him what happened. He slammed the door, locked it. He said, "Wait here while I go search the house." I didn't want my dad to leave me, but I felt safer knowing he was going to clear the house. Room after room, my dad saying to me, "There's no one here." He got to the last room in the house and said, "See, there's no one here." I felt so relieved that it was all over. My dad called the police, they came out, took statements and left. It's been 4 years since then, and we never saw Jeff again. We are finally going back to Alaska, and I know that I'll be safe. Truthfully, I never felt safe in that house after that. I'm so happy to be leaving that country.